Hello everyone, if you're new here, my name is Radinska and I am the owner of Sow The Seed Stationery. Stationery is a handcrafted, faith-based stationery brand that nurtures your faith and productivity. So I really feel led to just start sharing a little bit more about the behind the scenes of how I started my business. I know that I have shared things before and along the way, but I really want to dive even deeper because I remember when there was a time that I was a fresh stay-at-home mom with this little baby and God calling me to something that I had no idea what it was going to look like. I used to sit on YouTube and watch all of these videos and how-tos and handmade things, wondering, could that ever be me? Well, I'm here today saying, it is me, it's been me, and it will continue to be me. So the seed stationery started as a little seed that God called me to water, called me to plant, to water, and I still don't believe we've even reached the harvest of that. I am still watering every single day. I first got the word from the Lord at the end of 2022. By the end of 2023, I had posted my first listing on Etsy and made my first prayer journal. 2024, the brand identity came to life, our mission statement, our vision, and all the things. Then, July of that year, our Etsy took off, and today we have over 1,000 sales on Etsy. We are in a retail location at a local shopping center near me. We also launched our Shopify this year. We have gained over 600 followers on Instagram. Our email list is at like 100 and something, and I have been able to work with big and small content creators along the way who are loving our planners and journals. And I want to help you get to that version of yourself where you just are thriving in what God has called you to do after just moving and navigating through fear, insecurity, and doubt. So, the first thing I want to share, and what's really important for me to share, is my journey with the Lord in the midst of all of this, because I know there is so much content out there and there's so many things about like handmade or starting a business, but I don't believe there's enough of Christian or Christ based videos and things like that out there. So I want to share a little bit of how I started Sow The Seed Stationery. So for me, I started looking into it at the end of 2022. That's kind of like where the gears started to turn for me and the idea was planted in my head that I could potentially make my own stationery. During that time, I was navigating just some really tough trials and tribulation in my personal life, and I had just gotten baptized in the beginning of 2023. I was still fairly new to my walk with Christ. I was still navigating what that even looked like. I did not grow up in church. I knew of church. I've always believed there was God, but I never walked with Him the way I am today. So at that time, um, I know there's a term like baby Christian in the Bible verse that says like you still need to be fed milk versus solid food. So I was very much milking at the time, nursing at the time. But I will never forget the moment God made it so clear to me to start something, and the statement that is on my Instagram products, content, and community to encourage other women to grow in their relationship with Christ. That is exactly what the Lord spoke to me. I have no idea what that was going to look like. I was not in the best mental health place either, and I was spiritually broken. One of the first things that I did during that time, because I did not jump on it right away. Again, I was looking things up and I was thinking about it, but I was still so unsure and insecure, honestly, to start something of my own. At the time, I was also super exhausted. I was working full time at a makeup company. I remember feeling so ran down when I first became a full time stay at home mom. It was very uncomfortable for me, I had no idea what I was about to do with this baby, and I was still very much just shoveling through a lot of my own traumas, mental health issues, and things like that. So at this time, God is giving me the space and the grace, honestly, to take that time that I needed while still pursuing this thing that He had put on my heart, and just made the vision so clear to me. And not clear as in, like, okay, I knew exactly what everything was gonna look like and what everything was gonna be like. No, it was just like, no, I really want you to do this. Like, I really want you to actually start this. So I'm like, okay, God, how am I supposed to do that? And I remember going through that how to phase. I want to give you this tip that if you are stuck in the how to phase, you find yourself in analysis paralysis, trying to figure it out and not understanding how it's going to work for you. I need you to lean into the Lord and really release that to Him, because I will never forget when God made it so clear to me to stop figuring out how and just start doing things. So from that moment on, I saved my first $200 to invest into starting this business. I still have my first ever bookboard sample that I got from Hollanders when I was putting our first journals together, and I keep this as a beautiful reminder from where I started, because even taking this step to get a bookboard sample was so exciting and so igniting, and it really stirred up something inside of me to just try, do my best, show up every day, put one foot in front of the other, and see where God takes me. This is my first reflection question for you. What is something concrete that you can do that is not tied to fear, to insecurities, to doubt, to lack of faith, that can honestly encourage you and fuel that fire to continue to do and pursue the things God has called you to do? $200 to invest into materials for creating my first journal, that really ignited something in me, like, oh, okay, I'm getting serious about this. Like, I'm actually taking steps towards this thing. Like, utilizing online resources. I am not the most educated person by any means necessary. There are some things I am well versed in, but that's as far as that go. Anything else is the Lord. Basically, all that goes to say, I am a graduate of YouTube University. I have learned so much through free resources online via YouTube, via Etsy, or eRank. And I'm listing these things specifically because they have to do with handmade stationery. Utilizing online free resources that have to do with what you feel on your heart to pursue. So there is a lot of, like, how I started my business videos, hence me making this one. But not just those things, because yes, there's a lot of things that we can take away from other people's experiences, but look into the teachable things, creating, maybe how to work a program. I literally taught myself Adobe InDesign, and that's what I used to create the inside of my planners and journals. And it was all from watching free tutorials on YouTube. And Adobe actually has people that um, sit there and make the videos and walk you through, and you can create things with them as you're learning to navigate the programs. I didn't need to, go back to school and learn like graphic design. No, I just watched that video and went step by step, and the video was an hour long. Doesn't mean I had to sit there the entire time and figure it out in that 1 hour. No, it took me a few days, I think maybe even a week, to finish that video in its entirety, because I really wanted to learn the program. So I'm taking notes, I'm hitting keys and following along on my keypad to try to remember some of those like quick controls and things like that. I know that there is so much out there, especially in the small business world and just social media in general, but really focus on the things you need to learn to start your business or grow your business. If you are wanting to list on Etsy or start selling on Etsy, you can learn so much from the Etsy platform itself without signing up, without having to pay for anything. You can literally learn from other people's listings, other people's product photos, tags, and titles. If you mix eRank, which is directly affiliated with Etsy, I used the free version of eRank like the entire time I've had my Etsy shop. Use the free version and you can look up tags and titles for free. Like these are all things you can prepare yourself before you even have like a product or before something is fully done or released. I remember when I created my first ever journal, not to post and sell, but to gift to families and friends. And I believe it was that Christmas of 2022. I literally stood up all night trying to put some chipboard and sticker paper and just pages I had printed out on my own together too. And that was really like my first planner. That moment turned into something that would become so fruitful, and I had no idea. My third tip to you is identifying harsh truths. At this time of my life, I was still navigating some really hard things, which, led to like deep root issues of doubt and insecurity. So I found myself investing so much time, money, effort into other people who I saw doing like maybe things I wanted to do, maybe things I wish I could have the courage to do. I'll never forget when my mama said to me, "When are you going to stop investing into others and start investing into yourself?" That was one of my hard truths I had to identify, was that I am putting so much effort into other people's dreams and desires versus the ones God has placed on me. Another thing was my time management. It is so easy to get lost, get distorted, get discouraged. In those moments where we feel like we don't have the time or we can't find the time or just the whole day goes by, you don't really realize until you look up and really look into what you're doing throughout the day that you can be spending and creating that time for the things God has called you to do. Something that really helped me along the way was creating routines and creating time blocks. I remember there were so many moments, me just sitting on my laptop, looking things up. There was no business name, there was nothing. I'm just watching videos, trying to learn programs, and that time I dedicated ended up counting for something. Those are the very moments that we can tend to make excuses and just think that those limiting those limiting beliefs of this is never going to work out, this can never be me, I can't make this happen. When truthfully, it's not really you making it happen. It is the Lord. But there is a uh, diligence and a faithfulness that we have to show up with. My second reflection question to you is one of those hard truths it is time to face. I really want you to think about that and take time, any alone time you can get, to really just write those things out. Another one is, how are you utilizing your time? What are those things that you don't necessarily need to be doing and you just maybe enjoy doing them? But if you replace that with actually dedicating time to what you believe God is calling you to do, but you're not sure of, and just see what can happen in those moments. Uh, Ideas can come up, vision can come up. Like you just don't know when you actually take dedicated and create that dedicated time to just start moving towards that thing God is calling you to do. And then my last and final tip to you is application over knowledge. Now, try to be as wise as you can in this, because I have definitely been someone who just does and then finds out later I could have worked smarter and not harder. But that's just part of it as well. What I mean by this is, regardless of what you feel like you know or don't know, regardless of where you feel like you are or aren't, or who you are or aren't, you show up and apply those things in those areas God is calling you to. It can make a ton of difference. Like, again, creating that very first journal planner that I did that was just a gift. That was a seed that was very much needed, and I continued to water. You know, my circumstances did not change. My heart posture did not change. My mind did not change during that time. I was still walking that out day by day, but every day applying something I've learned or am navigating or God is revealing to me. Those daily steps and daily um time of dedication and being committed and showing application really ended up being the things that watered that seed. I did not have any social media at the time. God called me to start posting online. Didn't have a business name. I didn't have so many things when I started Sow The Seed Stationery. And even the name came about of just a reflection of what God has done in my life, where I was just this little seed that He is watering and pouring into and growing me. And I'm so happy to be in this place where I'm at, as a mom, as a business owner, because I get to now turn around and share that, really just glorify the Lord in all of that, even for myself as I'm making these videos and planning out this series to encourage and inspire other women to really go for the things God has placed on their hearts. I feel in a little bit of doubt. I feel a little bit of insecurities because there's so many other videos and things out there, but each of us has a unique story. Each of us have unique giftings, and so I truly believe that there is a space and place for all of us. Let me know if this video encouraged you and if you would like to see more. Like, comment, or share. And stay tuned for our series where I'm going to walk you through how to build out your Etsy shop, how to optimize listings, and we are going to deep dive into SEO. Thank you so much for watching.